Couple boys clock out about 5:35, trying to put a little hammer in their head. Standing in the liquor store staring at a fifth, but they picked up a handle instead. Hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Okay. Couple girls with their boots on, got their Bluetooth on, t-shirts saying go Sooners. Then the girl from the small town took off the old town, put on a little Hank Jr. Thank God. Hell right. She got all her rowdy friends coming over tonight. Hell right. Hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right. Hell right. Hell right. There's a guitar on the ground that was making some sound till somebody pulled a hillbilly slip. Now there's fog on the window. She never would have kissed him if he didn't play a lick like this. Hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right. Hell right. Hell right. Now 7 a.m., damn if there ain't an empty handle on a square hay bale. Everybody's passed out drunk, but when they wake up, they're all gonna hurt like hell right. Yeah, boy. Hell right. Hell right. Everybody's throwing down on a Friday night somewhere in America. There's a bottle to burn and a fire to light, and you ain't done nothing if you did it halfway. If you're gonna raise hell, then you better damn raise hell right. Hell right. Hell right.
You're listening to the House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network.
Introducing to you. You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube. It's going down now. Locked and loaded with the truth.
And good evening, everyone. Mike Covert here with you. Welcome again to the Beaufort County House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network. It is fantastic to have you here. It's wonderful Thursday evening. It's still light outside. Much prefer that. But what a big show we've got for you tonight. Welcome again, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or listening simulcast on bigpatriotradio.com. Big show. We've got tons of people. I mean, we may have more tonight than we did last week, which was pretty epic. Want to make sure everybody knows about the show, the station, as we always do. Don't forget that every night of the week on bigpatriotradio.com, there are podcasts from South Carolina podcasters. Monday night, the New America Movement. Now Wednesday, the Overton Report with Corey Allen, the number one show on the network. Thursday nights, this show is simulcast, and then Sundays, Andrew Southwick. And actually, he's not from South Carolina. That's a national show on conservatism and Christianity. Culture Crossroads, and that is on Sunday. Hey, don't forget, we would love to have you join our Patreon page. Become a member of the family if you would. Go to Patreon. That's Patreon. You see it scrolling along the bottom of your screen there. / Beaufort House of Cards. Help us help you. This is what keeps independent journalism, news, and media going. And hey, I want to give a big thank you. Speaking of this, a big thank you to a good friend. I didn't ask if I could use his name. I know he's watching. I could see him up there on the screen, our digital counters, if you will. He is in the journalism business. He's actually a real journalist. And we were talking this week about tonight's show, topics, on tap for tonight. And I made the comment, I said, hey, I didn't go to school for journalism. I'm just a guy with a decent voice who knows about radio and knows the law and the political system. And my friend, again, who I deeply appreciate you, he said, bro, what you are doing is real journalism. No matter what you say, you are a journalist. So I'm still thankful for those comments, and I appreciate him. Tonight's show, I want to bring this up. Tonight's show is brought to you once again. Let me see if I can find this. This is by the folks at wethepatriotshop.com/big. This is a U.S.-based manufacturer, offers healthier products, whether it's, skincare, shampoos, all that kind of stuff. What I like about it is the beef. Black Angus. If you listen to the station, you've heard the commercials. Real American, grass-fed, non-GMO, HMO, whatever MO. No chemicals in this beef. This is the real thing. Check them out. Call them at 518-538-2877. wethepatriotshop.com/big, and let them know that you heard about them right here on the House of Cards.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the number one most requested song this week. Trace Adkins, Welcome To. Good song on the country charts, been around a little bit. And the number one most listening area, this is no surprise given the show that we had last week. Beaufort, South Carolina was the number one. Bluffton Hilton Head tied for a second, I guess. And last week was our Eric Greenway whistleblower. Biggest show ever for this outlet. But previously, the two previous election night shows were far and above, beyond anything. This one was, it blew it out of the water. That night, during the live broadcast, 476 people were watching live. From an hour after the show through an hour before this show, we've clocked in an additional 1,034 people have watched the replay. Thank you, one and all. And if you missed last week's show, you missed a breakthrough interview. We were the only ones that were given the opportunity to do this, and I still appreciate that. We had been working for over a month or so with with someone that I had been calling the whistleblower on the Beaufort County, bureaucracy, county council, interdepartmental corruption, Eric Greenway saga, and more. That whistleblower came on the show, and only the show. The whistleblower was Eric Greenway, the subject at the middle of the entire years-long or whatever it is investigation here in Beaufort County that is still going on, that we still haven't heard from County Council Chairman. Where are we? Where are we? Anyway, I urge you to go back to YouTube, X, Twitter, Facebook. Watch it if you haven't. I think you will likely be surprised at what Eric Greenway came forth with to us. The investigation binoculars need to go wider in that story. And since then, we've learned of possible and alleged infractions and possible legal improprieties of and by Beaufort County Council Chair and Vice Chair. We learned that former Parks and Rec Director Shannon Loper was told allegedly to order the equipment by council's direction and the advice and consent of the county attorney's office last week. Yet we also learned that Greenway was pressed allegedly by the county council vice chair to fire her. Greenway obviously didn't do that. We learned that, again, allegedly after Greenway was terminated, that the interim administrator allegedly again was told by the vice chair to fire her. She ended up getting terminated, whether it was because the vice chair told him being John Robinson, to fire her or not. She was kicked out the back door. Last week, we learned that the subject of nepotism. You don't hear about that all too often. That word. Nepotism is alive and well in both the Public Facilities Department and in the Finance Department in Beaufort County. Allegedly, and within the past week, ironically, actually, the Public Facilities Director has left that position. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the story, but all of a sudden, he is gone. He left the position and has taken an unnamed position that I can find with the Sheriff's Department. Again, this is all allegedly from reports we've been receiving. We learned that the chairman of County Council didn't like the answer that the district manager of DOT gave him back in 2017. So he allegedly demanded and undermined the district manager of DOT, demanded Greenway go to the head of the DOT in Columbia and get a left turn signal installed, ironically, at the entrance of his subdivision. As of last week, we checked with the South Carolina Ethics Commission, and the chairman, at least by that time, had not claimed or made public acknowledgement in the ethics process of this improvement that was within 2 miles of his residence, which ironically is required by the South Carolina Ethics Commission. So this entire story is far from over. We now have 2 separate employees. This just in the past 2 weeks of the county that are beginning to come forward, and a third former one who want to tell their story. We'll keep you apprised as to what's going on and divulge that as we can. I might just add, just as we did with Mr. Greenway, if any of those involved who would like to come on here and make their case, clear up any questions or misconceptions, be it Mr. Vice Chairman, council members, any department heads, please feel free to reach out to us. We will extend the olive branch, and we want to hear your story. We absolutely, if there's something you need to get out, we want to hear it. Just as if there are employees out there that have been scorned and, or existing employees, and you're afraid that, hey, if I say something, that's going to be my job. I totally get it. And hey, get in touch with us. We have the ability to, we can buzz your face out. We can distort your voice, whatever you want. Or if you just want to let us know, keep your name out of it, that's fine too. Believe me, this is an equal opportunity for everyone here at Beaufort County's House of Cards.
Your Rock Authority. Patriot Radio.
I wouldn't tell anybody about this.
Don't forget, you can put your comments in whatever form. Everything is loaded. Twitter or X, Facebook, YouTube. They're loaded right now. If you have comments, put them on here. We will be glad to get to them as we can. Now, we're working on 2 brand new stories before we get to tonight's show, which is just one story. We're working on 2 brand new stories. So the alleged, these things just happened. The alleged near drowning of an apparent Pepsi Cola company employee who fell off the ferry on Defusky at the dock. Now, apparently and allegedly, the ferry doesn't meet up with the dock. When you're transporting humans, ferry, dock should meet, or there's a ladder or something of that sort. Anyhow, there must be nothing there because this individual fell into the water. Couldn't get out. They pulled him to the edge, and he was injured, but he's okay, as I understand. We're also working a story involving a now former Beaufort High School girls golf coach. 52-year-old James Corbin was arrested on Wednesday. 5 counts of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. He was released that afternoon. So stay tuned. We will go forward with that. Charlotte, how are you? She says, is that a Yeti cup? No, this is a, what brand is that? It's Yukon. But, is it better than Yeti? I don't know, because liquid doesn't last long for me. I go through it pretty quick. But good to see you. Thank you for being on here. All right, let's go up here and let's talk. Let's pull this up here and get our stuff together. There has been a story making local and even state news this past week, and that was the arrest of Bluffton Town Councilwoman Bridget Frazier. To recap what that was and how all this, where we are. Frazier was driving her 2017 Cadillac Saturday morning and was stopped for speeding. We'll get into the semantics of A through Z, how this happened shortly, but she was eventually arrested under South Carolina statute 5601-0460-81A, which is driving under suspension, DUS, not for DUI, first offense. Let's see here, if we have, we'll put this up here just to show the, that we're not making this up or anything. Not that I believe you think we are, but I do want to get these up here and share. All right, this is the copy. Man, my screen is acting goofy. This is a copy of the mugshot, if you will, from bcgov.net. And that's Ms. Frazier. And there you see the statute and the offense and so forth from the arrest on Saturday morning. Now, I want to make sure that you understand mugshots are public information. Okay, so nobody is, what I just did, I'm not infringing on anybody's rights. This is, that's part of it, whether you are just a commoner, a peasant, or you're a town councilwoman or anything in between, those mugshots are for public use. So anyway, I want to go through the detail. Okay, Miss Frazier was booked at Beaufort County Detention Center at approximately 11:39 a.m. This is Saturday morning. She was released at 12:51 in the afternoon, same day, which is, I don't know, it seems kind of quick. But anyway, and I apologize. I had previously, I thought the date, when I first talked about it, I thought it was 11:30 p.m. I got dyslexic with those numbers, and it was actually the morning of. So anyway, but let me preface what I'm getting ready to say here, and this goes bar none for everyone. No one is above the law. You saw that as the topic of the show. We've heard that before, television, radio, and social media, but no one is above the law. Now, this is not exciting. I want you to be sure you understand this. This is not exciting or advantageous or even fun for me or any news outlet, I would think, to talk about. Well, why do you do it then? Because when you decide to run for public office and are elected to public office, not only are you to be treated just like those you serve, but you actually, in a roundabout way of saying this, you actually lose some personal privacy. Let's call it that way, privacy, as they say. There has been legal case after legal case about elected officials not wanting, quote unquote, dirty laundry aired. However, everything I've ever found, ever seen, ever talked about, that has always been shot down. Public officials spend the public's tax dollars. Publicly elected officials work at the pleasure of the voter and are servants of the voter. Now, we've got several elected officials watching right now, and I hope that you understand what I'm saying, as this is really the way this is supposed to work. I'm a former elected official, we work for the people at their pleasure. We are servants of the people. We are fiduciaries of the people's money. We're not representatives of the government. We are not better than anybody else. We are not above the law. Let's just make sure we understand that. That needs to be understood by the public, and especially by those who serve. And hey, if you don't want your dirty laundry exposed, then don't run for any public office. Very simple. Now, again, as a former elected official, this was very, very clear. I saw all ends of that during my time, and even since then, still being involved in public politics. Many times, as we see on television and social media, political opposites take jabs, deliver barbs, pot shots, and whatever at opponents. I want to make sure that we all understand Mrs. Frazier is not my opponent. She is not my opponent. I serve the county of Beaufort, all 200,000 people. Yes, I had a district, but 200,000 people previously, and she serves the town of Bluffton. Mrs. Frazier and I are diametrically. I mean, if there's any two people that are different in their philosophies, politically, not about people, but politically, it's she and I. That's no question. But we both serve the people. So I want to bring up the police report so we can take a look at exactly what happened. So here, let's share the screen. There we go. This is the police report. Incident 24 Bravo Papa 06421. Mrs. Frazier was pulled over on or about, looks like 9:45 that morning. There's some information of what units were there. There were actually 5 different units that came there. I believe at least one of them is an officer, a female officer. I believe that's what I am being led to believe. We'll go down here to the officer's report. So here is our, let's see. I don't want to read this everything. While conducting the traffic enforcement, he observed a gray SUV traveling at a high rate of speed. 21 miles over the limit is what she was clocked at. He initiated the traffic stop. The important parts that I've highlighted. After I confirmed through dispatch, the license was suspended for failure to pay traffic tickets on multiple occasions. I made contact with the driver to ask about the suspensions. She stated she didn't know about the suspensions and hadn't been notified by the DMV for such. Officer confirmed her address on file, etc. The suspect's driving record was extensive with an abundance of suspensions for the same violation along with others. Now, I want to say that again, and I want you to put this over in like file B. The suspect's driving record was extensive with an abundance of suspensions for the same violation along with others. These factors, coupled with her current suspension, not only speeding, but she's currently suspended, aided in my determination to place the suspect under arrest. Shortly after, he notified her that she was being placed under arrest for driving under suspension. And Officer Rodriguez came. The officer that arrested her was, I believe his name is Richard Ramirez, but an Officer Rodriguez, who I believe, if I know who I'm talking about, is a female. Anyway, that person came and did the, the search. No contraband, nothing like that. Lastly, I reviewed the suspect's driving record with the specific instance where she was suspended for future knowledge on where she could clear up her suspensions. The report goes on just to have addresses and license plates and things like that. Let's get that screen off and we'll come back over here. So that was the story of the officer. Bluffton Tiger. So she was pulled over doing 21 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. Yes. With 2 points remaining on her suspended license. We'll get to that part because we haven't talked about that. She was arrested for DUS, but did she also get the speeding ticket? That's a great question. And I haven't, most people haven't talked about the speeding ticket. I certainly hope she did. Now, 21 over, I'm not a cop, but I thought that would be entertained as reckless driving. I think. I'm not accusing that. I think that's what my mind tells me. It's now they don't have to, just because she was driving recklessly because of speed. Maybe they cut her a break and brought it down. I don't know, but I know she was arrested for DUS, failure to pay, and etc. So that's where that is. We'll go forward with that. Yes, I thought that was reckless. Maybe it's 25. I don't know. That's neither here nor there, but it was fast. Anyway, the big point is the background. So this is our first reporting of multiple occasions of the suspect having legal problems. We just read it, that there was a multiple. Let's go back. Let me find that so I can give you the exact verbiage. I want you to understand this. The suspect's driving record was extensive, with an abundance of suspensions for the same violation along with others. Extensive, multiple violations. Okay. Now, how does he know that? All right. Great question. When officers pull you over, they can run your license on a very minor level. It can go to the NCIC, which is a national crime bank. I know in Georgia, they have something called the GCIC, which is a state run, like on the state level. You're only looking across the state. The NCIC is across the nation. I'm not sure what they call it in South Carolina. Fortunately, I've never had to worry about that. But anyway, so that's how they know. Okay. That's how they know. And there's, as we're talking about here, there are multiple occasions. So again, put this in file C. There are multiple occasions. This has been documented. Now you're going to see a little bit later on where the police department and the system is being told or accused of some pretty exacerbating things, but it has been documented not only in South Carolina, but also in Florida, that this has happened before. Now, the suspect, and that's how she's being referred to, National Crime Information Center. That's right. Thank you, Michael. The suspect had made a statement on social media later that same day that she was arrested and released, and released that on social media. I think it's important that we take a look at that. So let me pull up here. Bear with me a second so I can show you the statement. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's pause this and we'll share our screen. All right. Bear with me just a second. All right. This is from, and hopefully everybody can see that. Okay. I'll leave it up there a second. This is a social media post by the suspect. You can see, becoming, where we started with. What I have encircled there in blue, and I'll read that. And this is the words of, at least it's on Bridget Fraser's account, so I'm assuming it's her. I was a part of such a devastating ordeal this morning. I am not immune to receiving traffic violations and take care of my infractions when they happen, late or on time. I pay my dues. I travel too much not to. Now, I want to leave that right there and put this in another file. I take care of my infractions when they happen, late or on time. I pay my dues. Now, we just saw that the arresting officer had pulled information from, I'm assuming, the NCIC or whatever database that the police use in Bluffton and Beaufort County. And there were multiple instances, multiple occasions, multiple tickets, multiple violations. Driving under the suspension or under suspension happens for, a few reasons. One of those is, habitual offender, which I'm not saying she is because I don't see that anywhere. One is not paying your fines. One is failure to appear. And the list may go on and on. So that's what the police are seeing from years, not just within, 8 months, 12 months. I'm talking years from not only South Carolina, but also Florida. Is there anywhere else? I don't know. We go on to read that with proof of handling infractions and asking for communication of what was the specific violation written on my record, I was not given any of that information until I was handcuffed this morning and arrested. I was arrested for DUS in the first, which actually it's driving under suspension, not DUI, first offense. That's actually what it was, with no prior arrest record, no previous offense, and a driving record with only 2 points on it. Now, I'm not going to comment on no prior arrest record because, quite frankly, that's not the point of this, just to get this out there. But no previous offense, as we heard the officer, or we saw what the officer wrote, and what I'm getting ready to show you is not true. It's just not true. No previous offense. That is not true. Now, could it be that the state of Florida and the state of South Carolina, with these 5 to 9 violations that you're going to see, could they be all 5 or 9 clerical errors or errors of just trying to, decimate a victim? Well, gosh, I don't think so. I think they pretty well have their I's dotted and T's crossed, but the suspect does say she was arrested, blah, 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 with no prior arrest record, no previous offense, and a driving record with only 2 points on it. Okay, so that's what she says. 2 parts of this post are interesting. The suspect in this case said, I was part of such a devastating ordeal this morning. I'm sure it was. I am not immune to receiving traffic violations and take care of my infractions when they happen later on time. I pay my dues. I travel too much not to. We just talked about it. The commentary for us, or another file, is this. The statement is that the public at large has the right to decide for themselves. And that's why I'm doing this, because you, the public at large, have the right to decide, is her statement, that statement, other statements, are they true or are they false? Is it reality is reality. It's not what you want it to be. We saw this during like the COVID. Truth could be made up. No, the truth is the truth. Reality is reality. You don't get to have your own reality. Well, you can if you want, but that's not reality. The rest of us, don't have to live in your reality. Anyway, yet I digress. You make that decision. Is it true or false? A court can and should possibly make that decision. So let's continue. Let's continue reading what we just talked about. Proof of handling infractions. With proof of handling infractions, think about that, and asking for communication of what was the specific violation written on my record. I was not given any of that information until I was handcuffed this morning and arrested. I was arrested for DUS, blah, 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 no prior arrest, no previous, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this is where this kind of goes sideways. So, I've been talking to legal folks, experts, all week long here and there. It's my understanding, and the understanding of a couple of them that we're talking about this, that in reading this and unpacking this, that the suspect may have been, or allegedly had been asking this during the stop for the explanation. And that's allegedly. Okay, so they're in the process of arresting her, and hey, oh, whoa, what's this all about? What are you doing? That's kind of going through what I'm hearing. Asking for proof. Well, how do don't arrest me. I want proof. That's again, we can build this and see, kind of get a feel for what's going on. She asked for proof for prior problems. Allegedly, however, in her own words, I was not given any of that until I was handcuffed this morning and arrested. Now, I checked with some law enforcement folks from outside of Bluffton. I wanted to get outside of this jurisdiction that's under this microscope, and understand that this, as she recited, she was they wouldn't tell her she was handcuffed and arrested, and then we went forward. That is normal practice under the uniform procedures of law enforcement. The situation at hand is to secure the person and property, that should be secured for their safety and the officer's safety. I totally get that. Then once property is secured, the suspect is secured, nobody's convicted her of anything. The suspect is secured, then further conversation, etc., may be initiated. Now, I would refer to the chief of police in Bluffton for exact, or the PIO, Debbie Zvanka, for the exact, the outline for the department's standard operating procedure. Okay, if you want to see what their processes are, I would look there. But I have been told that standard uniform practice is when an arrest is about to be made, the conversation has stopped, the suspect has to be handcuffed, secured, Mirandized, etc., property secured, and then we can move forward. So the last sentence written on the suspect's social media says she has no prior arrest record, no prior offense, no previous offense is how it was worded, and a driving record with only 2 points on it. Okay, so let's move forward. Here's something else I want you to look at. Let's go and take a look at, oops, that's the wrong way. I want you to look at something that happened in Palm Beach, Florida. And now all of a sudden, hold on a second. Hold on. All right, let's go here and let's pull up Palm Beach. Palm Beach, remember that at one point in time, Ms. Frazier had moved to Palm Beach and was, I believe she was teaching school there, I believe. Anyway, let's go over here and let's share the screen. There we go. All right. So this is, let me pull this out of the way so I can see you folks. In blue, this is a filing, an offense filing through. Hey, Monster is not a sponsor, but if you like Monster, sugar free, because we're watching our figure. The Ultra Fantasy Ruby Red is the bomb. Anyway, almost as good as watermelon or apple. Anyway, getting off course. This is from Palm Beach, Florida. Charges were filed in July of 2006. What was the description? It's driving while license, and you see the Florida statutes. Driving while license suspended, canceled, revoked. And Bridget A. Frazier, right here. This is her offense. And down there. Now, this is from the Palm Beach, Florida Criminal and Traffic Court records. I am only to believe, as I haven't talked to someone in Palm Beach, Florida, I'm only to believe that this charge means the license was suspended or canceled or revoked. Not all. That's what I'm understanding, and that's what I want to believe. So it's the same thing. It's what just happened. Driving while license suspended, just different verbiage. The license was suspended, okay, or canceled or revoked. Boom. It is what it is. In 2016. Let's find 2016. There was January 26, 2016. There's so many of them. It's going to take me a second here. 2012. What is this? This is 2013. There's just too many. January 26, 2016, according to the Beaufort County Summary Court, the same suspect was stopped and has an offense of DUS, driving under suspension, license not suspended for DUI, first offense. So it's important to see this. Never do I want it to be said that he's making this up. So we're not going to do that. So let's pull it up. There's a seatbelt one. Just bear with me here. There's some other folks. 2013, 2014, 2016. There's one from, that is a seatbelt infraction that was actually showed up on. Here it is. That's 2013. Gosh darn it. 2013. All right. As I go through these, these will come back. So anyway, this is again, now we have one in Beaufort County. January 26, 2016. DUS, first offense, not DUI. It's the same exact one. The statute is the same from this past weekend. So let's go. I want to go through these. That's possibly easier. So y'all just chill for a second here. Let's turn these lights over and we're going to share. So I want you to see where we're going with this. So here we have, and this is from the Beaufort County Court system. Here is 2013, speeding 10 miles over or under 15, 10 to 15. We don't really know what it was, but that's what was shown. All right, so she's got one there, January 2013. Let's keep going. We have in 20, what is this? This is in 2012. We see a seatbelt, again, another seatbelt violation in 2012, August of 2012. That happened. It was adjudicated in the Bluffton Magistrate Court. All right, let's keep going. We can see here that in I believe this is 2021. Let's see. 2020. No, this is 2013. Traffic violation, another seatbelt. Let's go and let's pull up. Here is that one I was looking for. In 2021. Why do I keep doing that? We'll go here. Oh, that's Palm Beach. My bad. Here's the Beaufort one. Here we go in, man, that's hard to see. But it is January 26, 2016 in Beaufort County. This is the South Carolina Beaufort Summary Court. Driving under suspension, license not suspended for DUI, first offense. There you go. There's that one. We'll pull that one down. So it's happened before. Let's keep going. There are one here, another in, I'm not going to waste my time putting it up. 2013, speeding. 10 miles over. 10 miles over, 15 under. Here is another one. This one happens to be in 2013, 10 miles over, under 15. So, I mean, we can keep going, but there's multiples, 5 to 9, and today I was told that there are some others to look into, and I just don't have time. There's so many of these offenses. So anyway, the suspect, Ms. Frazier, again, in her social media post, says she was arrested with no previous offense and a record with only 2 points on it. Now, again, I'm no cop, no expert. I've had a speeding ticket, and I know when you get, what is it? You get one, you get a point added. Okay, it's not like she started and reduced. Only 2 points. I'm assuming from her writing that's not a bad thing. I'm seeing no seatbelt violations out the wazoo. I'm seeing, and I'll give you the counts of them. So keep your pants on for those that are, saying how wrong this is. I'll give you counts of them. There are speeding tickets out the wazoo. And now we have at least two DUS, driving under suspension, not for DUI, in the first, which is another point to make. How are they all in the first offense? Looks like we have at least 3. I don't know, but we'll leave it at that. Anyway, how could you only have 2 points? How could you only have 2 points? I mean, even if you did pay them all, which I'm not saying you didn't, but I see failure to appear and, driving under suspension. I don't know. It happens. It happens. I don't understand how you can be pulled over that many times in different jurisdictions and only have 2 points on your driving record. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how you could have this many offenses posted against you, but one would still claim in one's own words that you had no previous offense. So, again, I want to make sure you focus with me that I'm not talking arrests. I'm talking offenses. She said it. The suspect said it. No previous offense. Maybe you're right, Janet. I don't know. You may be right. Which doesn't actually, if you are right, that doesn't line, that sentence would not line up with the thought process of unpacking exactly word for word what she said, which I enjoy doing with people that make comments and I unpack it word for word, not paraphrase, but look at the word and how is it used? Is it a verb, an adjective, or whatever? That, which, I mean, you may be right, wouldn't line up though with what she said. I only have 2. No offenses, no arrests, and I only have 2 points. So you may be right, but it wouldn't line up with the linguistic information and how she's delivering the information. So, again, not to get off on a tangent, in this segment, I have said nothing about convictions or arrests, none of that. Just to be clear, I'm talking about offenses. Okay. So within a couple of days, let's move on. Within a couple of days of this incident happening and the arrest of Mrs. Frazier, the suspect in this event, the Island Packet came out with an article. I want to bring up that article because there are actually some interesting forms of little nuggets, if you would. There's little nuggets there that would be interesting to see. So let's go to page 1 of the Island Packet, and let's again share our screen window. Bada boom. Okay, so Sebastian Lee wrote this. Member Town Council, Bluffton Town Council arrested over the weekend after a traffic stop. You can read this, but what I've got in blue is the highlights. Council member Bridget Frazier, who's held a seat on the 5-member body since 2020, was arrested in Bluffton for driving with a suspended license. Frazier was going 21 miles per hour, and we'll bring up the next one. 21 miles per hour. I'm sure it's going to say over the speed limit. On a suspended license, Frazier was going 21 miles per hour over the speed limit. Blah, blah, blah. This right here is exactly, I'll give you a second to read it. This is what we talked about in the officer's report. So far, the officer's report is corroborated with the Island Package posting. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means that the story is the same. We're getting the same story. Nothing is being diluted anywhere. Having the same story is a good thing. It's when you get different stories is a bad thing. The next page. She was booked in, released out, yada, yada. A search of Frazier's name in the South Carolina Public Index shows Frazier has had 9 traffic violations, including Saturday's speeding ticket since 2009. 5 of them for speeding, 3 for not wearing a seatbelt, and 1 for driving a vehicle without a license in possession. This does not take in consideration the Florida offense for the license not having a DUS, driving under suspension. And obviously you can add Saturdays to that. But the suspect says she's had no previous offenses. I just want to remember that. I want to remember that. And I want to give her every benefit of the doubt. We do have someone had posted something. I skipped over it and I apologize. KB04 Sierra Victor Tango says Judge Clifford Bush's wife made a phone call, email, and got the bond court judge to come in. This never happens, and she bragged about it on her Facebook page. Okay, I haven't seen that. I'm taking you at your word. I hope that didn't happen. I don't know what Judge Clifford Bush has to do. I don't know that he's doing anything in this. Why would his wife make a phone call, got the bond? That I hope this is wrong, because if it is correct, that shows some, again, here we go, impropriety in the good old boy system and corruption in Beaufort County. All right. Okay, so where were we? We had the 5, speeding 3, partridge in a pear tree. But again, she said on her social media, no previous offense and a driving record with only 2 points. Again, it does not add up. It does not add up. Since the incident in question, the rhetoric on how presumptively innocent. Okay, thank you, Charlotte. Maybe there's something to that. I think, if anybody has any more information on that, let me know. I'll dig into it, as well. The rhetoric on how presumptively innocent the suspect has been ramped up. We already have the suspect claiming on social media how she has never had any offenses and only has 2 points on her record. Yet we just looked. We just looked at something that tells a different story. That all came to a head the other night at the Town of Bluffton Council meeting. Now, this will probably put you in orbit when you see this. I want to play a clip for you of the public comment section of the Bluffton Town Council, which was just, a day or so ago. We'll put this up here. Let me make the screen bigger. And as you see it there, just so you see, there's some folks of the community. Mike Raymond is giving a public comment. He's at the end. There's our former mayor, Lisa Solka. Good buddy Philip Rabinowicz of Morris's Garage. He's in the in the gallery. Paula Brown and her husband. She's a Beaufort County Councilwoman. This is Sharon Brown, a community activist. There are some folks back here that I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure. And back here we have some ladies that have shirts on that say hashtag free B, which I am only under the assumption that means free Bridget. But anyway, sit back and enjoy this little clip.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond.
Bluffton, South Carolina. Bridget Frazier, Chef B's food truck owner of Ma Daisy Restaurant, president of MLK Committee, Juneteenth organizer that bring thousands of people to Bluffton, organizes warming shelter for the homeless during the cold months and the winter, worked with the police department to bring on a personnel person for mental health, and provided over 20,000 meals to students when COVID was here. Now, the Bluffton Police Department vision statement says, we will strive to be innovative, progressive, and transparent. We are committed to serving our team and the community with integrity, courage, and professionalism. Your SHIELD core values are serving with passion, honor, integrity, excellence, leadership, and dedication. Well, the police department currently did not shield this community leader, who is a beacon of light and activist working toward inclusion and equality for all people in Bluffton. That's why I'm truly saddened and troubled by the arrest of Bridget Frazier, who was handcuffed and treated like a criminal for an alleged traffic violation and was hauled away to jail, processed and put in an orange suit, and had a mugshot on Saturday, March 9th, with false charges of DUS, offense with no prior criminal records. Now, for a first offense DUS, the police officer could have issued her a citation. The chief of police could have instructed the police officer to just let her go. But to my understanding, that didn't happen. So our Black community and others who know Bridget is devastated that why she was treated on Saturday as a criminal, without full and thorough investigation of this hideous arrest for someone who is Black and has no prior criminal arrest. And we want the removal of anyone complicit of wrongdoing. I am requesting that the chief of police set up a meeting with the African-American community and have conversation as to why should we trust the police department again after this senseless arrest. Change within our community when it comes to race, equality, inclusiveness, and our community continues to grow. We want to know why wasn't a citation issued until further investigation with this arrest on Bridget that the chief, Town of Bluffton Police Department could have been avoided. The Bluffton Police Department, it says, they have gone and worked with Bridget diligently, and I can't understand how you guys shamed this woman, arrested her for a citation that nobody thought there could have been a clerical error. That's a damn shame. Our African American.
All right, we're going to, let me rewind this because I've got a few things to share with you that, let me end this, and go back here. All right. Some folks are chiming in. Let's see here. Mike Reynolds. Hey, Mike, good guy here. My dad was a Beaufort County magistrate, 25 years. I was a police officer. I did not know that. Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for your father's service. Being bonded out in an hour is a preferential treatment. Okay. Again, I had said that seems awful fast. I've never been arrested in my life, but I can, having been around a block once or twice, that seems a little fast. Let's get through these right here. Stephanie, new member of council, Black or otherwise, deserves a free pass. Absolutely. Absolutely. No one is above the law. Mike Talmadge, 21 miles. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Susan, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Julianne. They were supposed to let her off without a license. So hold that thought. Now, I just told you that I really enjoy taking things that people say and unpack it. I use that phrase. A pastor of a church I used to go to used to use that a lot, unpacking passages in the Bible, and I kind of warm to that because that's what I do. I take what you say and unpack it to see what the real meaning is, so that I understand you. Because you won't, if you want to be understood, you have to understand. So, first, I know the public commenter here very well. Have you ever had, think about this. Have you had someone in your life that you know them well enough to be able to say they didn't write that. They don't use that speech pattern, or they don't use those slang or the colloquialism, something like that. Now, like I said, I know Ms. Brown. I've known her for a long time. I know her well enough to make the statement that it is my assumption that I would put, I'd bet 10 donuts that someone else wrote those comments. That's just not her way of delivering a message. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, it'll be like the second time. Anyway, second, in the comments, and we're going to go back to, I want you to listen to it again after we talk about this. Ms. Brown read the police mission statement, the vision statement, mission statement, whatever, and proceeded to immediately say, quote, what they didn't do was to shield this community leader who is a beacon of light and acted towards inclusion and equality of all in Bluffton, end quote. Now wait just a minute. Everyone can do, unpack it for yourselves. But my question is, after listening to that and looking at the words, is she saying the police should have shielded her from this because she is Bridget Frazier? Should they shielded her, as she said, because she's a public official who is a community activist? Does that mean the public commenter believes the suspect is above the law? Words matter. We all know that no one is above the law, but let's keep this ball rolling. She goes on to say she is just torn up that Bridget Frazier was, quote, handcuffed and treated like a criminal for an alleged traffic violation, hauled away to jail, processed, and put in an orange suit, and had her mugshot out with false charges of DUS, end quote. That is exactly what she said. Let's unpack that one. Everyone, and I mean everyone, who is arrested should be treated under the same standard operating procedures. If I had the chief of police who's been on this program sitting here next to me, or the sheriff, PJ Tanner, I would say that comment that everyone should be treated under the same SOP, standard operating procedures, in their uniform law enforcement practice. And I am quite confident that both of those gentlemen would say, yes, you're right, and yes, they are. Mrs. Brown, by these words, says that Ms. Frazier was handcuffed. Yes, if you are arrested, you are handcuffed. She says, treated like a criminal. If you are handcuffed, you are presumed to have broken the law, not convicted, but you are presumed to have broken the law, part and parcel of the definition of a criminal. Now, I don't know anyone who has said the suspect is a criminal. I have not said she's a criminal. I don't know anybody who says she's a criminal. She hasn't been convicted. I would think you have to be convicted to be the criminal, okay? She is still innocent until proven guilty. Remember, we are a country of laws. I say that all the time. In respect of that, if you are arrested, you will be handcuffed. You will be placed in the police car. You will be taken to the detention center. You will be put in detention center clothing. You will have your mugshot taken, and you will be processed. You will also may or may not be eligible for bond, depending upon the accusations and charges, the alleged crime. Now, I certainly hope that this public commenter, Ms. Brown, is not saying that. I'm hoping she's not saying that because the suspect is Bridget Frazier. I hope she is not saying that because that she should have been, processed different. because who she is. I hope she's not saying that. Surely she's not saying that, right? The presenter goes on to say that the suspect had, quote, no prior criminal records. Well, I suppose one could say that right now, I assume, since I said you have to be convicted, okay, in my opinion, convicted to be a criminal. You just because you're arrested, if you're found not guilty, you're not a criminal, okay? So I guess you could say no prior criminal records. However, for them all, her or Ms. Frazier or anybody else in the community say she has no prior offense, that is categorically untrue, and quite frankly, it's problematic. I suppose one could say that if they want to, even though that comment it's inaccurate. We have shown you tonight in the hour and 6 minutes, we have shown you multiple times that the suspect had run-ins with law enforcement and had a lengthy history. The rap sheet was long. Okay, anyway, she goes on to say, the public commenter I'm talking about, she goes on to say, quote, the officer could have just issued her a citation. The chief of police could have just let her go. Let's unpack that for a second, why don't we? Because why would the chief do that? Are you insinuating, Ms. Brown, that the chief of police should look the other way? Because Ms. Frazier is a town council member? Or just because she is who she is? Is it because of the plethora of unpaid fines and former citations that the officer had a duty to arrest Ms. Frazier? Looking the other way is good old boy politics. Is that not what Ms. Frazier claims to be, among many things, against? Isn't that what you say? You don't want that to continue? I don't want that to continue, but yet that's the game that's being played. Then the wheels fall off of this whole thing. According to this public commenter, quote, it's the black community that feels devastated and why she was treated the way she was, end quote. A, what does being black or white or red or purple polka dots have to do with anything? It doesn't. She goes on to say that basically the suspect should have not been arrested until a full investigation done. Answer, that's not how the legal system works, ma'am. You don't do the investigation in that manner. That's not how this works. Then she says, quote, someone who is black and has no prior criminal arrest, which is unjust, and we want the removal of anyone who is complicit in this, end quote. Seriously. Now she, the speaker I'm talking about, has taken this to the level of being a black elected official and having the name of Bridget Frazier apparently and allegedly means you are above the law. With that statement that the public commenter just made, again, let me reiterate this. She has taken this to a new level because your name is Bridget Frazier and you're a black elected official. You are above the law by her very words. Would the speaker felt the same way if, say, Mr. Dan Wood, another council member, happens to be a Caucasian male? If he had been in the same position, would you be so passionate with a white male that was arrested? I'll wait for that answer because I don't think I'll get it. The speaker goes on to demand that the chief of police have a meeting with a black community. And now, wait a minute. Here's my thought of that. We have separate communities. I mean, now we've got a white community, a black community, a Hispanic community, an Asian community, a gay community, a transvestite community, a straight community. I mean, or are we one Bluffton? And you know, when I was thinking that and I was writing the show, I said, wait a minute, where have I heard that before? One Bluffton. Then I remember back during her campaign, Bridget Frazier signs read hashtag one, I think it was hashtag, but one Bluffton. You can't make this up. If you mean it, then act like it. If you mean it, if you really and truly, whether Ms. Frazier wants to answer that, or Ms. Brown, or whoever, if you mean one Bluffton, then why don't you act like it? Put your money where your mouth is and act like it. The speaker says, how can the black community trust our police department again? Quote, unquote. She says, quote, this whole thing could have been avoided with a citation. End quote. Wow. You know, again, above the law. Above the law. Either because her name is what it is, or because she is a black councilwoman. Which one is it? That's not me saying that. That's the speaker. The speaker at public comment is saying that. So please, I would love to have someone explain that. The speaker continues to berate, really, the council, saying they have shamed the suspect in this. She's been shamed. I guess that means because her mugshot was public, which everybody else's is. If you get your mugshot taken, it's public record. Unless, I guess, your name is allegedly Bridget Frazier, and then now you shamed her. Unpacking that, let me time out a second. Does that mean that everyone who is not a peasant, not a commoner, that has been arrested, that means that they've been shamed? Or are they supposed to be treated just like me and you? Unpacking that is really easy. The suspect has to own up and speak for her own alleged faults. Own it. Just own it. Council and police, town council, Bluffton police, have shamed her? I say no. She did that all by herself with the help of her friends. She and they have shamed her and herself. What do I have to back that up? Well, for the last 30 to 45 minutes, we've laid out multiple offenses, even though the speaker and, the suspect claim otherwise. The speaker then claims, quote, this could have been a clerical error, and that's a damn shame, end quote. Now, let's unpack that. While saying that this could have been a clerical error to anything is possible. Clerical errors are always possible. However, when there were over were there 9 clerical errors during this whole thing for the last several years since 06, 09, whatever? Are they all clerical errors? Is every time that Mrs. Frazier gets pulled over, there's a clerical error on her? My word. What kind of aura and karma are you carrying around if every time you get stopped, it's a clerical error? I don't understand that. Could there really be a clerical error when she got the ticket for DUS, driving under suspension, for the second time or the third? Now is that plausible? A clerical error to exonerate someone for multiple tickets, that's a heavy lift. That's an extremely heavy lift, don't you think? So let's go back. And let's listen to this one more time after we just talked about what we've talked about.
Daisy Restaurant, president of MLK Committee, Juneteenth organizer that bring thousands of people to Bluffton, organizes warm and shelter for the homeless during the cold months and the winter, work with the police department to bring on board a personnel person for mental health, and provided over 20,000 meals to students when COVID was here. Now, the Bluffton Police Department vision statement says, we will strive to be innovative, progressive, and transparent. We are committed to serving our team and the community with integrity, courage, and professionalism. Your SHIELD core values are serving with passion, honor, integrity, excellence, leadership, and dedication. Well, the police department currently did not shield this community leader, who is a beacon of light and activist working toward inclusion and equality of all people in Bluffton. That's why I'm truly saddened and troubled by the arrest of Bridget Frazier, who was handcuffed and treated like a criminal for an alleged traffic violation and was hauled away to jail, processed and put in an orange suit, and had a mugshot on Saturday, March 9th, with false charges of DUS, offense with no prior criminal records. Now, for a first offense DUS, the police officer could have issued her a citation. The chief of police could have instructed the police officer to just let her go. But to my understanding, that didn't happen. So our Black community and others who know Bridget is devastated that why she was treated on Saturday as a criminal, without full and thorough investigation of this hideous arrest for someone who is Black and has no prior criminal arrest. And we want the removal of anyone complicit of wrongdoing. I am requesting that the chief of police set up a meeting with the African-American community and have conversation as to why should we trust the police department again after this senseless change within our community when it comes to race, equality, inclusiveness, and our community continues to grow. We want to know why wasn't a citation issued until further investigation with this arrest on Bridget that the chief, Town of Bluffton Police Department could have been avoided. The Bluffton Police Department, it says, they have gone and worked with Bridget diligently, and I can't understand how you guys shamed this woman, arrested her for a citation that nobody thought there could have been a clerical error. That's a damn shame. African American.
All right, so there you go. That's the second playing after we, unpacked it all. Let me look here, and this is only getting better. Let me just see if there's any other comments that need to go off or up rather. Let her go. Let her go is what they said, Susan. You heard it. Let's go down 4 here. The record speaks for itself. Very true, Mike. Couple folks having a little spat there. Okay. All right. We'll let those. There's a conversation going on, and we'll look at that later on. Anyway, back to the story. This is the important part. So, of note and interest, let's continue this story of Bridget Frazier and her situations. Back in January of 2020, the suspect, Ms. Frazier, was at the center of a racially motivated controversy when she went on a teary tirade on social media, claiming that the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department racially profiled her husband as he was pulled over after they left a dinner earlier that night. Frazier stated that the two had been they'd driven separately to dinner, left separately. Her husband was driving, in her words, a new BMW that still had dealer tags on the vehicle. In the video, Frazier claimed that the officer told her husband he pulled him over because of the tags. It goes on to say that because the VIN didn't match the tag, the deputy asked for a bill of sale. Frazier said, quote, "The travails of being Black in America. It is unnerving and sometimes a constant state of fear and humiliation. Being stopped and asked to provide a bill of sale showing proof of ownership of a vehicle that has a dealer tag on it is absurd," end quote. Unpacking that, I unequivocally and honestly and diametrically, other than what she thinks, I disagree. I don't care what color your skin is. When you buy a vehicle, a boat, an RV, a motorcycle, you get paperwork, registration, bill of sale. Maybe you get the IOUO thing like O.C. Welch does. Some kind of receipt. Insurance. Something that documents the transaction taking place. I've been around the earth, I don't know, what is it, 56, 57 times or whatever. Anytime I've ever purchased anything, I get something. Maybe that's just me. If you can't provide that, there is a problem. I shouldn't have to carry. That's not true. You should always carry things in your glove box that have to do with the transaction, especially if you got dealer tags on it. If you can't provide that, there is a problem. No matter who you are, no matter what color your skin is, no matter what your status in life in the public sphere is, or you think it is, there's a problem. My suggestion to them at that time, maybe you should have had proper documentation and this whole thing wouldn't have happened. But maybe, well, let's go. Let's keep going. Later that year, here's the kicker. Later that year, remember this was in January, okay? Later that year, it was in July, I believe, the sheriff's department concluded its investigation and very, very forthcoming with their, what did we find out? And they came out and said, I believe it was Bob Bromage at the time. He said there are no facts that support or substantiate the complaint. Zero. Also, and hey, this is important here. Remember when this allegedly occurred, like I just said, in January, Frazier made a statement that the vehicle was new and still had dealer tags on it. But wait a minute. During the investigation, the sheriff's department released information that Frazier's husband, gentleman last name of Patterson, and I don't believe I know him, told the officer, quote, the dates had washed off the dealer tags because the car was actually purchased in October, November, December, January. Wait a minute. Bought in October? Ms. Frazier, why did you say it was new? That's not new. It was actually now somewhere around 90 days old. Even if let's just say that wherever car dealer they deal with didn't give them anything. They were silly enough to walk off the lot with the keys and no proof of ownership. Let's just go with that story. By 90 days out, you would have received every tax notice from the county. You would have received insurance stuff. You would have received ads from, or marketing from the warranties, all kind of stuff. Maybe it's just me. Every time I've bought a new or used car, after 90 days, I get all, by then I got all kind of stuff. The DMV would have sent you things by 90 days. Your insurance company would have certainly sent you stuff within 90 days. But wait a minute, 90 days. In South Carolina, the law, I think it's changed. It's either 30 or 45 days. That's the law. You have to change your driver's license to get the all that legal stuff that we all have to do. You have a time limit to do it. So you didn't do it in time. It really wasn't new. Frazier went on to Facebook, or went on to say in her Facebook video that she is tired of explaining to people, quote, we are in a second-class society, end quote. Now, I find it interesting on several fronts and levels, neither of which I want to expand upon at this time, really, other than to say this. I have seen, because I know what she's saying, her whole argument and her teary-eyed drama was because being black in America, and it's whatever the word was. I've seen black Supreme Court justices. I've seen a black president of the United States. I've seen a black vice president, of the United States. I know multiple black CEOs. I know some black CEOs that have like 9 digits. That's their worth. I've seen black kings, black queens. I've seen black men and women congressmen and women, black men and women senators. I've seen black men and women in county and town and school board members. I don't see a color divide. Now, I feel very sorry for those that, you know, if you still see race as a dividing issue, I mean, I hope and pray for you that one day you'll find peace with yourself. The other day, I did come out on social media and I called for Ms. Frazier to resign. Well, hold that thought. I'll get back to that. I sincerely, if you are that ate up with racial problems, I feel bad for you. I mean, I hope you can overcome that. I don't look at this as, you know, the last time I got pulled over, which I don't even remember when it wasn't because I was a white, fat, bald guy in a pickup truck. You're profiling me. I don't look at life that way. I don't think you should look at life that way. My first, the best man in my first wedding was black. I don't see a color problem here. I had black employees. I have black friends. I don't see the divide. But yet, if you look, all you got to do is take an hour and go into the search history, the social media history of the suspect in this case. And yes, if you look at the Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, and I mean, just start naming them. Okay, that whole thing that went on in riots. She has a history, and it's probably getting deleted right now. But guess what? You can't delete the internet. She has a history that is it's unexcusable. She's always playing how bad the police are. That is not exaggerated in every single one of those examples, and every single one that happens to her, it's the police problem, not her problem. You've got to own it. Whatever you do, own it. That's all you got to do. You got to own it. Now, what I was saying. The other day I came out on social media and I said, I called for Ms. Frazier to resign. I still feel that way, even more after doing almost a full week worth of investigation, and that of others that I consult with. It hadn't been quite a week. We're sans 2 days, but I've done more investigations with this and more finding out the truth and making sure the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted than anything else I've worked on. She should resign. The councilwoman needs to and should resign. She should get any open and undone issues all completed. Mend what is broken. There's something broken. She needs to mend that. I hope she can mend that. Resigning on her own and owning up to and taking responsibility is admirable. It's expected of a professional community member of good standing. Own what you do. Take responsibility of what you do. Possibly make it worthy of another run for council when you're all done. I totally get that. These are the things that community activists speak of that they want the youth of today to do because of problems of the past. Then I say to you, Councilwoman, own it. Take responsibility for it. Be a beacon of light to the community, not just your community, the community. That you can say, I made a mistake. I own my mistake. I will make it right. Then say, I made it right. I do better. We can all do better. That's the kind of thing that people look at and go, I can relate with that. Because maybe that was you. Maybe that was me. Maybe that was him or her. Own what you got. Take responsibility for it. Stop talking about it and start doing it. Otherwise, continued actions like this and behaviors with perceptions of being above the law, continued placing blame on everyone else but never yourself, will continue. And I then say the legal system will take its course. I spoke to someone earlier before the show. What was the quote? These behaviors, so I'm gonna paraphrase it. These bad behaviors, if they're rewarded with sweeping this under the rug because she is who she is or thinks who she is or whatever, they'll be rewarded by her doing them again. That's with anybody. That's just human nature. Bad behavior, rewarded bad behavior, begets more bad behavior. With a history of, 8, 9, 10 offenses, failure to appear, under suspension, speeding, blah, 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 blah. Bad behavior begets, rewarded bad behavior begets bad behavior. So, anyway, with that, I do recommend town council, they can't remove her. They can censor her, and I recommend that they do censor her. I recommend that they remove her from anything having to do with public safety and the law enforcement of Bluffton, including anything to do with financial budgeting or expectations. Remove her from that. They can do that. At that time, I would recommend that Mayor Toomer do what is necessary to protect the citizens of this town, possibly consult with the governor of South Carolina and his chief of staff about the possible need of removal from office. Let me be totally clear, my friends. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. That's messy. It causes strife. It causes grief when it can be done by the person taking responsibility of his or her actions and step down. So we will continue to follow this story, and hopefully it gets sorted out in the courts the proper way and responsibilities are taken and properly carried out. But please, 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 whether it's Ms. Frazier or Ms. Brown or the people that support her or anybody else, anybody that this next statement applies to, let's stop with the race division. Let's stop that. Let's stop calling it the Black community or the Hispanic community. How about the community? It's uncharacter of this area we all live in a Bluffton state of mind. The biggest cheerleader of Bluffton has been Lisa Sulka, and nobody will ever be a better cheerleader than her. And she used to always talk about the Bluffton state of mind. However, Ms. Frazier, if you honestly believe in your core that there is #one Bluffton, if you believe that, one Bluffton, if you really, really believe it, then I want, and the people want, you to act like it.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Let's just see here. We're going to run through. We're almost done. Let's go through here and see if anything needs to be put up here. Janet, hey, good to see you. You can't play the race card if it had been Dan Wood. Yeah, well, yes. Unless he did. And I haven't seen that. That was just an example. Mike Reynolds seems like she has a track. Excuse me. Under South Carolina law, if you don't pay traffic fines, your driver's license is suspended. That's right. And it also says, there's a contract, driver in the state. That is a contract. They don't have to tell you. Okay, that's not how it works. Well, they didn't tell me I didn't pay my bill. No. I mean, sometimes DMV will send you something. Maybe it's the county and your tax bill. They don't have to tell you those things. It's a contract, and you looks like you broke it. Could it be that every one of the offenses were dismissed? If so, that is even worse and needs to be investigated. Well, Avi, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Miss our weekly talks, but I'm glad we're not having to do that with that issue. Anyway, even though it looks like we might with the teacher. Anyway, could it be that every one of the offenses were dismissed? If they had been dismissed, it is my understanding that she wouldn't have had her license suspended. So something had to occur for that license to get suspended. Either or not paying fines, not showing up to court, or all the above, or something. So I hear you, and I think it should be. This should continue, and I know that it is, but I don't think that they were dismissed because, well, they're still active, and the license has continually been under suspension. But the department did operate in transparency and integrity. Yes, that's true. Let's see what else we have here. Mike, I sent you a message with all it took was okay. I'll look at that. Yes, NRVC, that is on some of the court records that I looked at. NRVC stands for Non-Resident Violators Compact. You can see that through if you get evicted from a house or apartment or whatever, you'll see that on your record. Cars, repossessions, this kind of stuff. That's right, Mike. Let's see. Janet, and you are told to keep the bill of sale with you until the car is registered. I agree. I've always been told that, but that's me. Didn't she claim her husband was racially? Yes, we talked about that. She did. We are all one. That's right. That's right. Mike Talmadge, hey buddy. Journalism, Mike, not investigation is what you're doing. 10-4, appreciate you being a fan of the show, brother. And Susan, good to see you. She was right about one thing. Justice will be served. Yes, I hope justice is served. And well, that's all. I've said what I need to say. So we'll leave that at that, but it will be. Janet, yes, step down now. I do believe. Helga, hey, good to see you on here. Thank you for being on here, my friend. Great show. I always appreciate you, and thank you. At what point will her driver's license be revoked? I don't know. I'm not a traffic law. I've never really cared to dig into that. But the great question, I'll have to look into that. What does it take to be revoked? I did have the question of when are you considered a habitual offender? In a previous place I lived, if you had, things like speeding, reckless driving, DUI, DUS, all that kind of stuff. If you had 3 convictions, the habitual offender statutes kicked in. I'm not sure what it is in South Carolina. I really don't. I really don't know. But I want to find out. Just haven't had time. Will they be releasing the body cams? That's a question. I don't want to answer that because you can FOIA those. But let me just say that there's nothing on the body cams that I understand that is damning to anyone. It is my understanding, and I'll just put it like this, that both the officer and Ms. Frazier were both professional, so to speak, in their behavior there on the side of the road until the handcuffs came out and she was Mirandized. Then things went off the rails, complaining. But that's, if you want to FOIA for those, I would say go ahead. And like I said, I'll just leave it at that. All right. So join us next week right here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. Also on BigPatriotRadio.com. Be sure we need some folks to join us on Patreon, $5, $10 a month, whatever you can do to help us keep this machine going. Pay attention all week long. We've got some special live presentations. We're just waiting on things to kick off to make it worth your while. Those live presentations will be on YouTube, on our Beaufort County's House of Cards page on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. It's heating up. We've got big stories coming up. We talked about at the beginning of the show. Stay tuned. We love and appreciate all of you. We'll see you next week. But until then, good night, America, and watch your six.